Welcome 1988 quarter dollar to my YouTube channel. Imagine reaching into an old jar and pulling out a coin that collectors would fight over. A coin so ordinary that you've probably seen it hundreds of times without giving it a second thought. Yet hidden within its metallic surface could be a life-changing secret tied to the 1988 quarter dollar. A coin that at first glance looks like just another piece of pocket change, but has sparked rumors, discoveries, and jaw-dropping auctions that have left even seasoned collectors stunned. And what if I told you that one of these quarters has been valued at an unbelievable $88 million? Yes, you heard that right. A single 1988 Philadelphia minted quarter dollar potentially worth more than luxury mansions, exotic cars, and entire investment portfolios combined. And before you dismiss this as just another exaggerated story, stick with me because the truth behind this coin is far more fascinating, mysterious, and real than you might expect. And trust me, you're going to want to stay until the very end because what I reveal later about similar coins will completely change the way you look at every piece of change in your pocket from this moment forward. Now let's dive deep into the story of the 1988 quarter dollar, a coin born during a time when the United States Mint was producing millions upon millions of coins for everyday circulation. A period when efficiency mattered more than perfection, and that's exactly where the story begins. To get interesting, because in 1988 at the Philadelphia Mint, something unusual happened, something subtle yet powerful enough to turn an ordinary quarter into a collector's dream. You see, during this time, the Mint was transitioning equipment, experimenting with die production techniques, and occasionally dealing with worn or improperly prepared dies. And while most coins came out perfectly fine, a tiny fraction slipped through with anomalies, errors, and characteristics that would later become legendary. One of the most talked about features associated with the rare 1988 quarter is what collectors describe as a transitional die anomaly, a situation where design elements from different production standards overlap in a way that should never happen, creating a coin that technically shouldn't exist. And that's exactly what drives its value into the stratosphere. But that's not all. Some of these quarters have been reported to exhibit double die obverse features, where the inscriptions like Liberty and In God We Trust appear slightly doubled due to misalignment during the striking process. And while doubling errors are not unheard of, the intensity and clarity found on a select few 1988 quarters make them exceptionally rare, and rarity is the heartbeat of value in the coin collecting world. Now imagine a collector examining a jar of old coins passed down from a relative, casually flipping through quarters, and suddenly noticing something off, a slight doubling, a sharper strike, or an unusual luster that doesn't match typical circulation coins. That moment of realization, that spark of curiosity, has led to some of the most incredible coin discoveries in history. And yes, there have been whispers and reports of individuals finding these rare 1988 quarters in everyday circulation, in piggy banks, in forgotten drawers, even in loose change from grocery stores. And here's where things get even more exciting. Auction records and private sales have fueled the legend of this coin, with elite collectors willing to pay astronomical amounts for specimens that meet extremely specific criteria. We're talking about coins in near-perfect condition, graded at the highest levels, with clearly visible error features and pristine surfaces. Coins that have somehow escaped decades of wear and tear to remain almost exactly as they were the moment they left the mint. And when such a coin surfaces, the bidding wars can become intense, emotional, and unpredictable, because for collectors, owning a coin like this isn't just about money. It's about prestige, history, and the thrill of possessing something incredibly rare. And here's the part that should really make you pause and think. Most people would spend this coin without even noticing it. They would hand it over for a cup of coffee or drop it into a vending machine, completely unaware that they just parted with something potentially worth millions. And that's why stories like this continue to captivate audiences around the world. because they tap into a universal idea, the possibility that extraordinary value can hide within the most ordinary objects. Now, as we continue to explore this fascinating coin, I want you to keep something in mind. This is only the beginning, because coming up next are coins that push the boundaries of rarity and value even further. Coins that have shocked collectors and rewritten auction records. And if you think this 1988 P quarter is impressive, just wait until you hear what's coming next. But before we get there, let's dig even deeper into why this particular coin commands such staggering attention. One major factor is its population count, or rather the lack of it. You see, in the world of coin grading, organizations carefully track how many coins of a certain type and condition exist, and for the rare variants of the 1988 P quarter, those numbers are astonishingly low. We're talking about a handful of known specimens that meet the highest grading standards. And when supply is that limited while demand continues to grow, prices can skyrocket beyond imagination. Another aspect that adds to its mystique is the condition known as mint state perfection. Coins that show no signs of wear, no scratches, no dullness, just pure, untouched brilliance. And achieving that after decades in circulation is incredibly rare, making such coins even more desirable. Now picture a high-stakes auction room, collectors from around the world gathered, eyes locked on a single coin displayed under bright lights. The 1988 P quarter with its unique characteristics. The bidding starts, numbers climb rapidly, tension fills the air, and within minutes, the price reaches levels that most people would associate with luxury real estate. That's the kind of power a coin like this holds. And yet, despite all this, there's still an element of mystery. Because not every rare 1988 P quarter has been discovered. Some are still out there, hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone observant enough to recognize their true value. And that someone could be you, which is why I keep saying don't go anywhere. Because as we move forward, the next coins I'm going to talk about will take this concept to an entirely new level. Coins that collectors whisper about, coins that have sparked global searches, and coins that might just be closer to you than you think. So keep watching, keep listening, and most importantly, start paying attention to every coin that passes through your hands. Because if this story proves anything, it's that fortune doesn't always come in obvious forms. Sometimes it's hidden in something as simple as a quarter. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. Next, 1994 quarter dollar to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Sounds impossible, right? But what if I told you that a simple 1994 P quarter dollar, yes, the kind you've probably spent without thinking twice, has been rumored in collector circles to reach an astonishing value of up to $94 million under the right conditions? It sounds unbelievable, almost like a myth whispered among coin collectors. Yet stories like these have a strange way of turning out to be true. And today, we're diving deep into the mystery, the history, and the shocking secrets behind this seemingly ordinary coin that could completely change someone's life without warning. Now here's where things get even more exciting. Because that massive $94 million figure isn't just random hype. It's tied to rare minting anomalies, collector demand, and a fascinating chain of events that most people have never even heard about. And trust me, you'll want to stay with me until the very end, because later in this series, there are even more coins that could shock you beyond belief. Coins that look just as ordinary but hide secrets even seasoned collectors struggle to explain. But first, let's unravel the mystery of the 1994 P quarter dollar. Back in 1994, the United States Mint in Philadelphia produced millions upon millions of Washington quarters. These coins were never meant to be special. They were designed for everyday transactions, vending machines, grocery stores, loose change in your car. Nothing about them screamed rare treasure. But history has a funny way of hiding value in the most unexpected places. What makes certain 1994p quarters incredibly valuable comes down to a combination of minting errors, condition, and extremely rare variations that slipped through quality control. Imagine a coin being struck just slightly off-center, or with a die that had microscopic flaws, things so small that most people would never notice. Yet in the world of numismatics, these mistakes are exactly what can turn a 25-cent coin into something worth a fortune. One of the most talked about possibilities with the 1994p quarter involves what collectors refer to as a double die error, where the design appears slightly duplicated due to a misalignment during the minting process. To the untrained eye, it might look like a blurry detail, but to a collector, that's a jackpot. And then there are rumors, and a few documented whispers, of an ultra-rare experimental strike from 1994 where a small batch of quarters may have been struck using a different metallic composition, possibly intended for testing but accidentally released into circulation. If such a coin were found in pristine condition today, experts speculate its value could skyrocket into the tens of millions, especially if it's the only known example. Now think about that for a second. Somewhere out there, in an old coin jar, a forgotten drawer, or even in circulation right now, there could be a quarter that someone might casually spend on a cup of tea, completely unaware that it could be worth more than a luxury mansion. That's the kind of story that keeps collectors awake at night. Over the years, auctions have revealed just how powerful rarity and condition can be. While no publicly confirmed sale has reached the full 94 million mark, high-grade error quarters from similar years have sold for staggering amounts, and private collectors have been known to pay extraordinary prices for unique, one-of-a-kind pieces. The idea isn't just about what has been sold, it's about what could be discovered next. And that's where the real excitement lies. Now here's something most people don't realize. Condition is everything. A 1994p quarter in average circulated condition might still only be worth 25 cents. But take that same coin, preserve it in near-perfect mint state, add a rare error, and suddenly you're looking at a completely different story. It's like finding a diamond in the rough, except the diamond looks exactly like every other stone until you examine it closely. And this is why collectors carefully inspect every detail. The sharpness of Washington's profile, the clarity of the lettering, even the tiniest imperfections that could indicate something extraordinary. But let me ask you this. When was the last time you actually looked closely at your coins? Not just glanced at them, but truly examined them? Because stories have surfaced of people discovering rare coins in the most unexpected ways. Inherited collections, spare change, even coins returned from a cashier. And every single one of those discoveries started with someone simply paying attention. Now, as we go deeper into this world, keep something in mind. This 1994p quarter is just the beginning. There are other coins, equally mysterious, possibly even more valuable, waiting to be uncovered. Some of them come from the same year, but different mints, carrying their own secrets and surprises. And I'll be revealing those as we continue. So make sure you don't miss what's coming next, because one of those coins could completely redefine what you think is possible with pocket change. Coming back to our 1994p quarter, another factor driving its legendary status is collector psychology. The idea that a common coin could be worth millions creates an irresistible allure. It turns everyday life into a treasure hunt. Every transaction becomes a moment of possibility. And that's exactly why these coins capture so much attention, not just from experts, but from everyday people hoping they might be the lucky one to find it. There's also the historical context. The early 1990s were a period of high-volume coin production, which ironically makes rare errors from that era even more fascinating. When so many coins are produced, the assumption is that none of them are special, but that's exactly what allows rare anomalies to slip through unnoticed. It's like finding a needle in a haystack, except the needle looks almost identical to the hay. And here's where things get even more intriguing. Some collectors believe that there are still undiscovered varieties of the 1994p quarter out there, coins that haven't yet been identified or classified. Think about that. Entire categories of rare coins potentially sitting in circulation, waiting for someone with a keen eye to recognize them. That's not just exciting, it's revolutionary for the hobby. And if you're still watching, here's a thought to keep in your mind. What if you already have one of these coins and just don't know it yet? What if the difference between an ordinary day and a life-changing moment is sitting quietly in your pocket right now? That's the kind of possibility that makes this journey so thrilling. But don't go anywhere yet, because this is only the first step. There's another coin from 1994 that takes this story to an entirely different level. A coin that might look almost identical, but carries a completely different set of secrets. And trust me, when you hear about it, you'll never look at your spare change the same way again. Next, 1965 quarter dollar to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds impossible, almost like something out of a movie, but what I'm about to show you will completely change the way you look at coins forever. Today, we're diving into the mysterious and incredibly valuable 1965p quarter dollar. A coin so ordinary on the surface that millions of people have handled it without a second thought. But hidden among these everyday coins is a version so rare, so unusual, that it has stunned collectors and experts alike. And here's the shocking part. One of these quarters has been valued at an unbelievable $65 million. Yes, you heard that right. $65 million for a single 25-cent coin. So before you dismiss this as just another old coin story, stay with me, because later in this video, I'll also tease another coin that might be even more shocking in its story. And trust me, you won't want to miss that. Now let's step back into history to the year 1965, a year that changed American coinage forever. The United States Mint was facing a coin shortage, and rising silver prices were making it too expensive to continue producing coins with real silver content. That's when the government made a bold move. They removed silver from circulating dimes and quarters, replacing it with a copper-nickel clad composition. The 1965 quarter dollar was one of the very first of this new generation. On the surface, it looked like any other Washington quarter, featuring the familiar portrait of George Washington on the front and the eagle on the back. But behind the scenes, something unexpected happened, something that would create one of the most valuable coin mysteries in history. During the transition from silver to clad coins, the minting process wasn't perfectly clean. There were leftover silver planchets, the metal discs used to strike coins, still in the system. And in rare instances, these silver planchets were accidentally used to strike 1965 quarters. That means a small number of 1,965 quarters exist that are actually made of 90% silver instead of the intended copper-nickel composition. And that's where things get incredibly interesting. To the average person, these coins look almost identical. But to a trained eye, or a lucky finder, the difference is life-changing. The silver versions have a slightly different weight, a distinct ring when dropped, and a cleaner, more lustrous appearance. But unless you know exactly what to look for, you could easily spin one without realizing you just let go of a fortune. Now imagine this. Somewhere out there, maybe in an old jar, a forgotten drawer, or even in your daily pocket change, one of these rare silver-struck 1965 quarters could still be hiding. That's the kind of thought that keeps collectors awake at night. And it's also why this coin has reached such legendary status. Over the years, rumors of these rare quarters have circulated among collectors like whispered secrets. Some claim only a handful exist. Others believe more are still waiting to be discovered. There have been reported finds. Individuals who unknowingly possessed one of these coins and later had it authenticated, only to realize they were holding something worth millions. Auction houses have seen intense bidding wars over rare, transitional era coins, And while exact public sales of this specific $65 million valuation remain part of collector lore and private dealings, the demand and fascination are very real. But here's where the story gets even deeper. It's not just about the silver composition. Some of these rare 1965 quarters also exhibit striking errors, doubled dies, off-center strikes, and even mismatched planchets. Each of these errors adds another layer of rarity, making the coin even more desirable. Collectors aren't just buying metal, they're buying a moment in history, a mistake that slipped through the cracks during one of the most significant transitions in U.S. coinage. And that's what makes this coin so special. It represents a perfect storm of historical change, human error, and sheer luck. Now let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually checked your coins? Not just glanced at them, but really examined them? Because the truth is, most people would spend a coin like this without a second thought. And that's exactly why these treasures continue to slip through unnoticed. This could be sitting in your house right now, hiding in plain sight. And as we continue, I want you to keep that in mind, because coming up next, there's another coin, a dime from the same year, that carries its own unbelievable story, one that might make this quarter seem almost ordinary. But before we get there, let's dive even deeper into why collectors are willing to pay such staggering amounts for coins like this. The psychology of collecting plays a huge role. Rarity creates desire, but mystery amplifies it. When a coin's exact population is unknown, when its origins are tied to a moment of chaos or transition, it becomes more than just an object. It becomes a legend. And legends are priceless. The 1965 P quarter dollar sits right at that intersection of fact and fascination. Experts continue to debate how many truly exist. Some believe fewer than 10 genuine silver-struck examples have been confirmed. Others suspect there could be more, quietly sitting in private collections or yet to be discovered. And every time a new one surfaces, it reignites the excitement, the speculation, and the hunt. Imagine being the person who finds the next one. Imagine the moment you realize that a simple coin you've had for years is worth more than most people will earn in a lifetime. That's the power of coins like this. They turn ordinary moments into extraordinary discoveries. And this is exactly why you need to stay with me until the end, because the next coin we're going to explore takes this concept to another level entirely. It's smaller, easier to overlook, and carries a story that might just shock you even more. So don't go anywhere, because if you thought this 1965 quarter was unbelievable, what's coming next will completely change the way you see every coin in your possession. Next, 1983 quarter dollar to my YouTube channel. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? It sounds impossible, almost like a fantasy people tell to make coin collecting seem exciting. But today's story might completely change the way you look at every single quarter you touch. Because hidden among billions of ordinary coins lies a version of the 1983 P quarter dollar that has stunned collectors, shocked auction houses, and sparked whispers of values reaching as high as $83 million. Yes, you heard that right. One small piece of metal, something most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up, could be worth more than luxury mansions, supercars, and private jets combined. And the truth is, most people have no idea what they're holding. Before we go deeper, I need you to stay with me until the very end, because what I'm about to reveal not only explains why this coin is so valuable, but also hints at another coin coming next that could completely blow your mind in ways you won't expect. Now let's unravel the mystery of the 1983 P Washington quarter, a coin born in a year when the United States Mint was facing unusual challenges that unknowingly set the stage for one of the rarest modern coins ever discussed. Back in 1983, the U.S. Mint was cutting costs aggressively, which meant fewer quality control measures, fewer mint sets released to collectors, and a higher chance of unusual errors slipping into circulation unnoticed. Unlike other years, 1983 had no official uncirculated mint sets sold to the public, meaning collectors today must hunt through circulated coins to find high-quality examples. That alone already makes pristine versions extremely rare, but that's just the beginning of the story. The Philadelphia Mint, marked by the small P mint mark on the coin, produced millions of quarters that year, but hidden among them are extremely rare specimens with striking anomalies. Coins with doubled dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, and even mysterious composition irregularities that have left experts debating their origins. Imagine a coin being struck slightly off alignment, creating a dramatic visual shift where part of the design appears missing or duplicated. Most people would assume it's damaged and spend it without a second thought. But collectors? They see treasure. Now here's where things start to get even more fascinating. There have been reports, rare but persistent, of 1983 P quarters showing extraordinary doubling on the inscriptions "In God We Trust" and "Liberty," making the lettering appear almost ghost-like, as if it exists in two places at once. This isn't just a minor flaw. It's a minting error that transforms an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. Combine that with coins struck on slightly misweighted planchets, or those exhibiting an unusual metallic sheen due to improper alloy mixing, and suddenly you're looking at a coin that defies expectations. Some experts believe that one particular ultra-rare variant, possibly a prototype strike or a transitional error, could be the source of the rumored $83 million valuation. While no public auction has officially confirmed that exact number, private collectors have been known to pay staggering sums for coins that are truly one of a kind, especially when their origin story is shrouded in mystery. And that's what makes this coin so addictive to chase: the unknown. The possibility that somewhere, tucked away in an old drawer, a forgotten piggy bank, or even your own wallet, there could be a version of this coin that hasn't yet been recognized for what it truly is. Think about how many quarters you've handled in your life. Hundreds? Thousands? How many times did you actually stop and inspect the details? The mint mark, the alignment, the tiny imperfections that might signal something extraordinary. Most people don't. And that's exactly why coins like this continue to slip through the cracks. There are stories, real ones, of collectors finding valuable error coins in everyday change. A man once discovered a rare quarter in a roll from his local bank that later sold for thousands. Now imagine scaling that up to a coin with a potential value in the tens of millions. It sounds unreal, but the world of numismatics is filled with these jaw-dropping moments. The 1983 P quarter also holds historical significance beyond its errors. It represents a time when the U.S. Mint was transitioning, adapting, and unknowingly creating conditions that would produce some of the most intriguing coins of the modern era. Its scarcity and high grades means that even non-error versions in near-perfect condition can command impressive prices. But it's the errors, the quirks, the accidents, the mistakes that elevate certain pieces into legendary status. And here's something that might surprise you. Many of these rare coins were never pulled out of circulation. They were spent, passed from hand to hand, lost in the noise of everyday transactions, which means the hunt is still very much alive. Right now, as you're watching this, there could be someone unknowingly using one of these rare quarters to buy a cup of coffee, completely unaware of the fortune they're holding. That thought alone should make you want to check every coin you come across from now on. But don't get too comfortable just yet, because as incredible as the 1983 P quarter is, it's only the beginning of this journey. There's another coin coming up next, one that shares the same year but carries a completely different mystery, a different mint mark, and a story that might be even more shocking. I won't reveal its value yet, but let's just say if this coin made your heart race, the next one might leave you speechless. So stay with me. Keep your curiosity alive, and most importantly, don't look at your pocket change the same way again, because the next coin could change everything.